Hey y'all, it's Kim. So this is the transcript of the DOJ interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. It's gonna have two separate audio clips, so just indulge me. I have to, because one of them's only like 3 minutes, the other one's like an hour, so I have to go from one to the other. And then my Audacity, for whatever reason, is not flowing from one clip to the next, so I have to work on that later. I'm not worried about it right now. I just want to get these recorded because it is a lot of information. But let's go ahead and we'll start this one here, and then I'll have to click over to the number 5 clip. So,
good afternoon. We are continuing the recorded proffer interview of Ms. Maxwell. The time is 12:59, Thursday, July 24th.
Okay, so just continuing to talk about Ms. Maxwell. Still focused on the 90s time period, with understanding that could spill over in the early 2000s, but still that part of your life with Mr. Epstein. There's been public reporting about conduct by Mr. Epstein and others at Little St. James.
Yes.
So can you talk about the frequency with which you went there, and address some of the reporting, namely around young masseuses or young women who would be present, and what you observed relating to them, and then I'll ask questions around that.
So if I'm right, he purchased the island in 1996 and he was friendly with the owners. And originally we went to the island as guests of the owners. And then I guess at some point the owners told him they wanted to sell and he decided to purchase it. So the island was very rustic. I loved it. Of course, I have completely different ideas. And I would say there was none of what you were describing at that early period of time. So the frequency was often on the island because loved it. He really, really loved it. And we would go all the time. Mostly, all the early phase was based on improvements that could be made on the island, always going with new architects, new designers, new construction people. I'd say the first 2 years, almost every trip, not everyone, but almost every trip contained an individual who would be brought on board to have an opinion as to how to I want to use the word improve the island because I don't think you could improve it, but to I think the word would be to develop it. Sorry, that's the word.
Okay.
Develop the island. That's the word. So there were trips, constant trips with that in mind. And I would say now, if we're moving to the late 90s, 96, 97.
okay, so that's the first clip. So hold on, I gotta get over here to number 5. Sorry. I mean, it's just the way this is working out.
I definitely witnessed a progression in Mr. Epstein's behavior and a modification, if you will, where in the past, in the early 90s, I don't remember traveling so much with other people, or there'd be a masseuse or a yoga person, but now he started to travel with more, always a masseuse, whereas in the past wasn't always a masseuse or always an instructor. There was now starting to be always an individual or a friend or whatever. It's always maybe the word would be entourage. But these were always people in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s, as my memory sees it, as I observed that time. And he tasked me with finding a local masseuse for him in St. Thomas, because sometimes, even though I say he would always travel with an entourage, sometimes he didn't, and he wanted to have a massage locally. So I visited the spas that were local in St. Thomas and in St. John. And if I met someone, a man or a woman, actually, because it was difficult to find somebody in St. Thomas, it's not exactly. So, and I did find a couple of people who would come. So that's how they came. Because also it was a schlep. So if you had somebody who came, it would be, you'd have to boat ride and several hours. It wasn't just it's not like arriving with your massage and stuff. So there was that. So I did do that.
So did, over the years, males also give massages, Mr. Epstein?
Yes. I did say, I don't think, at the beginning, definitely. And I would say towards sort of, again, late 90s, I don't remember any men. They were at the beginning, I think, in that, towards the late 90s, I kind of don't think of any men, I only think of women.
Did you, when you talk about entourage flying, right now we're talking about to the island, did you observe any sexual, I was going to say misconduct, but any sex at all whatsoever on the plane?
Never.
Was there a part of the plane that was closed off from others where Mr. Epstein could go and get a massage?
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good question. So there were two planes. So you had there was a Gulfstream, and that's open plan. So anything, I mean, there was a sofa that turned into a bed, and he did sleep on that. And then, but in the Boeing, which he flew on a lot, there was his area could be closed off with a door, and behind that door there was a bedroom and an office. So if that door was shut, you wouldn't see it.
But but you never observed Mr. Epstein engaging in sex or getting a massage with somebody where the masseuse was not clothed on the plane?
I can't say that. I might have. Okay. I definitely might have, either, but both in the Gulfstream or in the. I'm sure I did, but it's not. I can't.
That's fair.
Okay.
Um,
I'm absolutely sure I did. I must have, because he was so obsessed with someone rubbing his feet, or just when you ask me about massage, I just want to be clear. I generally what I think of that is somebody on a massage table, but other people might think of it as something different. You know, you could have someone rubbing his feet or his shoulder. I saw that all the time. That I did, but that's separate from being on a massage table.
How, again, I know we're talking about a decade-long period, but during the period we're talking about, in a 7-day week, how often would Mr. Epstein get a massage?
In the 90s, when we're talking, he would get one every day. I think as that time progressed, he would get one maybe twice a day. I do want to say that there was maybe a reason that things altered or morphed or progressed. And it is maybe part of the reason also that he and I, our relationship, or however somebody wants to call it, altered. And he started doing testosterone, and that altered his character. And I believe that started in the late 90s. And I believe that the FBI has his medical records, and you may see that on his medical records.
So you believe that he started taking testosterone in the 90s, and when you say that altered his behavior, you're saying it made him get more massages, or that was just one part of what changed about him?
Well, he became more aggressive.
Nice.
And I think that he may be, well, now I'm just imagining that the testosterone altered his desires or something. Does that?
And so when given what you've said the past couple hours about his kind of progression or change, let's focus on that time period. So more towards the late 90s,
yeah, okay.
so 96, 97, 8, when you've said that he changed. Did you know flat out that he was having sex or otherwise some sort of sexual conduct with masseuses regularly?
Flat out, no, I denied that. I couldn't imagine that he would. But I think looking back now that I didn't. But I started to suspect that he was not faithful. Seems ludicrous, but that's what I thought.
But if he's flying from Palm Beach to St. Thomas, or if he's flying all over the country to New Mexico or to New York, or even in Palm Beach, and there's young women, putting aside whether they're under the age of 18 or in their 20s, every day at the house, multiple masseuses, multiple massages on some days. You're interacting with the masseuses constantly. Or maybe that's not right.
That's not right.
Let me take back what I just said. Ignore that part. But you understand that he's getting massages every day, sometimes multiple times a day. By the late 90s, it's all women. Presumably, they're some of them are new, but they're also repeat masseuses. What did you? I mean, you had to know at that point that there was something going on beyond just he really needed to get massaged.
Very fair question. There's two things. The first is the person that he saw the most at that period of time was in her 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And she was with him all the time. And I'm like, married as well.
Yeah.
And I'm square. And it never occurred, well, I don't believe it occurred to me at the time that with this woman, he would be having relations, and he was with her. That was the person he had the most massages, yoga, and that with at that time in the 90s period. The second thing is that he told me he had to go through having an erection, and I believed him.
When you said he said that, you mean he regularly told you that? Like
when I didn't have sex with him after the first time, and it turns out I asked him, was it me? And he told me it was him. And I'd never, up until this moment in my life, I'm not stupid, I'm very bright. I've had an excellent education. I've traveled all over the world. I had boyfriends, but I had never met or understood that somebody could be so, would lie to me about. It never occurred to me. I didn't have a frame of context within my life experience where somebody would be so manipulative and devious with me. And plus I just didn't have, and I was happy not to have sex because I have a condition that doesn't lend itself to that.
Does when you learned, so fast forward just for a moment to the 2007-09 time period, and he's arrested and charged, and there's all kinds of press around his purported contact. At that point, did you accept that that was true? Meaning, did it make sense at that point when you're reading about women who claimed that they had been abused, even underage? And at that point, did you think to yourself, well, geez, that makes sense now that I think about it, or no?
First of all, I only read what was in the newspapers. I didn't have any other thing. And I'm embarrassed to say I didn't believe it.
Okay. Right. I mean, you didn't believe that the accusations were true at the time. Yeah. So let's.
And sorry, I need to say, even if they were true, I believe that he was duped and he didn't know that they were whatever was in the papers at that time, whether they said that they were 17 or it didn't register, because along with all of those, well, not in 2006, but later when the more salacious and other allegations came out, I knew were utterly false, which then just reinforced my belief that the rest was not true.
Let me ask you a question about the age of the masseuses over the years. I think in my mind, there's a difference between you knowing or not knowing that a masseuse is under the age of 18 and coming to give a massage, and you knowing that Mr. Epstein, sexually abused the underage person or made her strip or something like that. Meaning, and I want to understand whether you believe that nobody that came to give massages, none of the women were under 18, or that you didn't focus on their age, but you were more focused on whether any underage woman was abused by him.
I think it's better to answer this question with corroborating evidence and then go back and explain. So if I frame your understanding of what I'm saying. My understanding is that in 2008, they had interviewed 44 women, let's say, or around that number. You have to understand, not a single one of those 44 women mentioned me in a single report. And it's not because they didn't mention me in the report, because they never met me. They never saw me, and they never interacted with me. So to go back to your question, it's not that I thought one way or another. It's that I didn't see them.
Okay. I see. Okay.
Does that?
Yeah. No, that's helpful. So.
And when I say not one single one of those reports talks about me. And I just want to clarify exactly, because I'm obviously aware that one of those girls was one of the witnesses in my trial, specifically.
Probably Virginia Roberts or Giuffre.
To use her own testimony so that you don't have to hear my point of view, it's better if it comes from her own words, and that way there's no second guessing what I'm saying. Herself said that recruited her, brought her, and trained her. Those are own words.
That you didn't know. I mean, I assume.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I really do have some slow cognition issues.
So she says, she testifies that it was that recruited her and trained her and not you.
So then in her first FBI meeting, she reports seeing a woman with short dark hair at the house, which then is used as evidence that that person was myself. But the maid lady who helped keep the house, John Alessi's wife, with an accent, I believe she said. John Alessi's wife had short dark hair and an accent. I'm sorry, but I find, and you can ask yourselves this, I mean, I've obviously modified my accent. I've been in America a long time, but I'm British. I've been brought up with a very strong British accent. And I don't believe there's an American on planet Earth that doesn't recognize this to be British or Australian, maybe, if you really don't know. But it's not some random accent. Now, the Hispanic, maybe, okay, that was John's wife, but she's not me. And I'd like to point out further how you potentially through her own words, she identified.
Why don't we stop there and let them ask the next question?
So just, and look, I want to try to, I think probably tomorrow I want to talk more about kind of the evidence against you and how to address that. So
Okay, sorry.
no, don't apologize. That's helpful, but I don't want you to be burdened. I want you to just tell the truth the best you can. So I don't want you to be burdened by what people said at trial or what the press says about you.
I just thought it was illustrative when you asked the question, because it doesn't, I absolutely have no memory. Now, I'm leaving separate to this, obviously, so that's a separate story. I'm not going to pretend, well, we'll get to, yes, go ahead. But in the terms of the scheme or whatever, however you want to determine what you're calling that, I have no memory, no active anything of having seen anybody that resembles a child, let's call it what it is, at that house giving him a massage at all. It's not even like I did this. It's an at all. And 44 people didn't see me or talk about me either, including.
And when you say that house,
oh, sorry, Palm Beach.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean, but does the same memory or lack thereof apply to on planes in New Mexico and New York and
well, with some other important caveats. Well, on that, Bajorlin Jane in my trial was clearly underage, clearly a child, and I only saw her in Palm Beach, and I only saw her with her mother. The other person was clearly also not an adult or even close. I believe I remember her now. That would be the only two, or three.
So, did you ever know Mr. Epstein to communicate with FBI agents, either like intelligence FBI agents, like as a source, or just generally with FBI agents?
No.
Do you think if he had done that, you would have known, like he would have told you something like that? Like if I said to you, Mr. Epstein was a source for the FBI, would you say that's crazy? No, he wasn't, or maybe he was. He would have told me that anyway.
I have two answers for that. I think if he was for real, I think he would have bragged about it as a show off, because he could be a show off. And if he wasn't, he might have dropped it like he was cool. And I don't remember him doing either. Now, with again the caveat that before I met him, finding money, I think he may have suggested that there was people who helped him, but that's the only context that I recall that in.
What do you mean by that? When you said finding money, what do you mean?
Well, his business where remember I told you, I think in that context, he showed me a photograph that he had with some African warlords or something that he told me, and I don't remember if that's what I interpreted, like that kind of thing, or whether it was something like that. That's the only actual active memory I have of something nefarious. Not nefarious. I don't even know if it was nefarious, but covert, I suppose, would be the word.
And what about any other intelligence agency, like the CIA or Defense Intelligence or any other law enforcement agency?
I don't think so. I think that I don't remember anything like that. I just don't think he had the wherewithal, and I think that whole aspect of that is.
Can I use a bad word?
Yes.
Bullshit.
And what do you think is bullshit? Meaning, what do you mean?
Would you have known if would he have been bragging to you? Would he have been saying these things?
I think he was, because I think that I think one of the reasons why he liked me was because of my family connections, and and why he liked other people was because they were cool or whatever. And I think that certainly early in when I met him, he would have tried to impress me or tried to show off, if you will, like he was that guy, you know. And he wasn't that guy. And I think that he would have tried to bullshit me, and he didn't. So I think it's fine. He may have tried to bullshit me, but not.
Right.
Sorry.
So I want to just shift for a few minutes to talk about post 2000 to kind of when your relationship changed over the years with him. Did there come a time when Mr. Epstein did meet members of the royal family?
Yes.
When was that?
So I need to go back because I think I may have misspoke.
Okay.
I didn't misspeak, but I read something that I had forgotten.
Yeah.
Before I met Epstein,
Mhm.
he lived in London for a period of time. I don't know for how long. And he met and knew some truly fancy people, like people, high society people. That included Princess Diana's best friend. Her name was Rosa Moulton. And Rosa's husband, Dominic Lawson, who's a famous journalist, actually, he's a very well-known journalist. And when I, and he was friends with the Barings Bank, and he had like sort of that.
That was
before he met me.
Before, so in the
80s.
80s.
Yes, he was dating Eva Anderson, Miss Sweden. I think I don't know when she became Miss Sweden.
Okay, so earlier when you said that he met them later, you think he may have met some members of the royal family or certainly British high society?
He met, I don't know about the royal family, but certainly high society.
Okay.
And the reason why I know this is because sometime this is a documentable, I think, whatever. There's a photograph that can give you the date because I don't remember what the date is of this. So there's something that will peg whatever this date is. I don't remember when that is. Epstein went to London he often went everywhere without me, but he was in London without me, which was decently unusual because London's my hometown. But anyway, he went without me. And he went to a big event I think it was in the pub. It's a big event. It's on the news. It's like there's photographs of it. And I don't know if he sat with Diana or he met Diana or he already met her. I don't know. But this, I believe, was organized by Rosa. And so I don't know if she was being set up as a date for him, maybe, because I don't speak bad of Diana, but that come mind.
Okay, so that was pre-meeting you.
No, that was when that event happened when we were.
Oh, okay, that was.
It's when we were. Okay. I'm not going to say together, but how about this? When I was his employee.
Okay. So now moving back to the 2000s, did there come a time when Mr. Epstein met Prince Andrew?
Yes.
And others in the royal family, or just Prince Andrew, as far as you know?
Well, so as much as I can piece it together, first of all, let's just state I did not introduce him to Prince Andrew. I did not introduce him to Prince Andrew or to Sarah Ferguson. That is a flat untruth. So now I'm going to tell you how he did actually meet him. So if you find me that photograph, I can date that time when we met Princess Diana at that event. And based on that, I'll be able to tell you if it's pre or post that event, because I haven't looked it up and I've never bothered to check. So Lynn Forrester, who was a client or some type of client, I think she actually tried to date him or might have dated him for the record. She was in. Do you want to ask me something?
No, okay.
Okay, she was, she had a house, or she rented a house in the Vineyard. I think it was in the Vineyard or Nantucket. I can't remember now which one it was. It was one of those. It's either Nantucket or the Vineyard. And invited Epstein to go. And I believe that's when he met Prince Andrew. However, I believe that before that event, he had gone to the Bahamas and had hung out with Sarah Ferguson. And Sarah had called Epstein and had arranged with Lynn, or I don't know, I don't know now, I'm speculating. Anyway, long and short, he met Andrew up there.
And I'm not holding you to an exact date, but when
But we can
approximately
date
was
it from
that?
that picture, if you find me the
But do you
picture.
know, without looking at a photo, in your mind, approximately when was that?
I want to say it was 2000, no, probably 2001,
Early
2002.
2000s.
Yes.
And I think it was actually um, Prince Andrew himself who suggested that he met Jeffrey Epstein through you.
I think that's true. So, well,
It's true that Andrew said that.
yeah, no, I'm sure it's true. Because I'm English, and my close friends are all close friends with Sarah and Andrew. And I would not say that I was close friends with Andrew before, but certainly we were friendly, and certainly his best friends, some of them were very, very close with me. And I think that my friendship, me being present, or me, is what made Andrew like Jeffrey more, like trust him, or I think
So
that's
you don't dispute that that you kind of had a role in them getting together. You're just saying you didn't say Prince.
I would
here's
never have
Jeffrey.
introduced them. It would never have occurred to me to introduce them. I couldn't imagine them being like two chalk and cheeses would never. I mean, for real, there's nothing there to connect them. So he met Prince Andrew, and then he had a really good relationship. I don't like that word. It sounds clunky. They had a friend.
Acquaintanceship.
Thank you. And through Sarah, actually, I think Sarah is the one that pushed that. And they met and hung out. I want to say 2 or 3 times. That had nothing to do with me. I wasn't communicating with Andrew. I wasn't in touch with him. And I know this because I was annoyed and I felt
Left out.
left out and I felt disrespected. And I was like, this is weird. I couldn't even imagine Epstein and Andrew together. And I thought that Sarah was trying to put the moves on Jeffrey, if I'm being honest. And I thought the whole thing was annoying. And I was pissed.
So what happened with the relationship, putting aside the publicity around Prince Andrew's purported relationship with
Virginia Giuffre, I'm sure.
what happened as far as you know with Prince Andrew and Mr. Epstein's relationship from the times you just described?
Okay, so after that, at some point, Epstein told me that Andrew was coming to New York and I needed to organize the whole thing. That's classic, by the way, classic Epstein. Of course, there's someone, I was like, all right, fine, whatever. And because he wanted to make sure that Andrew was taken care of and he was comfortable, he had whatever he needed, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, am I going to meet him or are you just going to have me do all the job? And he said, well, you know, you can come and say hello. Right, wow. Wow, that's so nice of you, for real. Because you have to understand, like, I don't know if I told you this before, but I did not have the keys to his house. I was not allowed to go to his house unless I was summoned or told. I was not allowed to answer his phones. We can go there. But anyway, so this, we can tell this a bit the sore point, perhaps. Anyway, so Andrew came, and of course, the minute we got together, I was like, yay, hi. And then it was so nice because the difference of being in England with Prince Andrew versus being in New York without all the bullshit was insane. And our friendship just like lit up like this. Because first of all, he knew that I'm safe. I mean, safe as in I'm not, you know, Nigel Dempster or taking a picture. Not in a million years would I do something so gross. And we honestly got on like a house on fire. I really liked him a lot. And it was so nice. And we just became really, really good friends. Much more so than when we were in London. If I'm honest.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this here and then finish the rest of the recording because it's probably about halfway through. And I don't want the Zoom thing to shut down on me while I'm sharing this. So anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.